It's midday. Good afternoon to you and welcome to Bena Midday News. This news is coming to you live from Benab House, Atomic Junction, Medina. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin. Ministry for Energy and Green Transition has directed all agencies under the ministry to submit detailed roadmaps for the 24-hour economy policy by April 15. The minority in Parliament has announced plans to introduce a private member's bill to amend the Ghana Gold Board Act. And in some news beyond our borders, the Senegalese president has signed into law doubling the maximum penalty for same-sex relations to 10 years in prison. There's and many more coming up in the next few minutes to stay. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, this news is live on Facebook and on YouTube at Bena TV. Now let's delve into the details of these stories. The Ministry for Energy and Green Transition has directed all agencies under the ministry to submit detailed roadmap by April 15 to guide the implementation of the government's 24-hour economy policy. The Deputy Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Richard Jan Mensah, disclosed this in a sideline media engagement at the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the 24-hour Economy Authority and the National Petroleum Authority, an agreement aimed at expanding continuous operations within the downstream petroleum sector.
Mr. Jan Mensah indicated that the ministry has formally communicated the directives to its agencies, with letters already issued requesting the submission of implementation plans. According to the Deputy Minister, several agencies within the sector have already made significant progress toward adopting 24-hour operational models. Entities such as the Tema Oil Refinery and the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company are understood to be advancing internal plans, while others are at various stages of preparation. The submission deadline is expected to provide the ministry with a clearer picture of readiness levels and implementation gaps. The Deputy Minister noted that a fully implemented 24-hour economy within the energy sector could significantly increase job creation both directly and indirectly.
Airline ticket prices for both domestic and international travel are set to increase from today as carriers begin implementing the government's Airport Infrastructure Development Levy. The new charges are expected to push up fares across all routes, with domestic passengers paying an additional 100 Ghana cedis for flights within Ghana. For regional travel, passengers will pay an extra $30 for one-way tickets and $70 for return trips. International travelers will also feel the impact with a $50 surge charge on one-way tickets and an additional $100 on return fares.
government says the levy is critical to addressing infrastructure gaps in the aviation sector. Revenue from the charge will be used to finance key projects, including the construction of a concourse linking Terminal 2 and 3 at the Kotoka International Airport, the development of a 2,000 capacity car park at Terminal 3, and rehabilitation works at the regional airports. Some industry players have raised concern that the new levy, combined with existing taxes, could make Ghana's airport one of the most expensive in the region and reduce its competitiveness. Others have questioned how the policy aligns with an ECOWAS directive, urging member states to cut air transport taxes by 25% to improve regional connectivity. Passengers are therefore being advised to expect higher ticket costs from today as the levy takes effect. The increase also comes at a time when some airlines are already adjusting fares upward due to rising aviation fuel prices linked to tensions in the Middle East. According to the Board of Airlines representatives in Ghana, Ghana could move from 9th to 3rd place among African countries with the highest airport charges if the levy is fully implemented, ranking behind Gabon and Sierra Leone. Globally, average airport charges for return trips range from $30 to $34, while Africa's average is about $68, highlighting concerns about affordability and competitiveness.
Now moving on to other stories, Africa Education Watch has raised concerns over the government's decision to establish a new College of Education in Jomoro, describing the move as poorly justified and out of step with current educational and labor market needs. In a statement issued on April 1, 2026, the think tank criticized the proposal, arguing that it fails to reflect prudent prioritization of limited public resources, particularly amid Ghana's estimated 16 billion Ghana cedis annual education financing up.
According to EduWatch, the nearby Enchi College of Education in the Awin Municipal operates at about 30% below capacity due to admission caps introduced by the Ministry of Education in 2022. This, the think tank argues, undermines the rationale for establishing a new college in close proximity. Beyond the local context, EduWatch pointed out that the Western region already hosts 4 colleges of education alongside teacher training programs offered through distance learning centers run by the University of Cape Coast. The statement further underscored a broader national issue, an oversupply of trained teachers relative to demand. EduWatch noted that despite a 30% admission cap across Ghana's 46 public colleges of education, together with universities such as the University of Cape Coast, University of Education Winneba, University of Ghana, and University for Development Studies, the country continues to produce more than twice the number of teachers required each year.
You're still watching Bena Midday News on Bena TV. We'll go for a quick turn. We'll be back with business and more.
Kingani, what we got to do.
I got some mention of
Kiss them.
Why should I do now? Cousin Bacchus screen in a school when never.
A kowane lokaci aure ke zama shakatawa da zaman lafiya. Akan samun sabani da rashin fahimta da gaddama tsakanin ma'aurata. Wasu lokaci tarbiyyar da yara yana ya zama matsalar aure. Ku kasance tare da mu akan shirin darasin aure a yayin da muke zurfafa bincike akan kalubale da ma'aurata ke fuskanta da yadda za magance su baki daya tun daga wahala har zuwa nasara. A wannan karo za mu kawo muku wani sabon salon akan shirin darasin aure kowace ranar Laraba karfe 4 da rana tare da ni Hajiya Munira Mahmud. Darasin aure, headquarter duk lamuran aure duk baki daya.
You're welcome back. You're watching Baina Midday News on Baina TV, and we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Baina TV. Now let's move on to some business story. The minority in Parliament has announced plans to introduce a private members' bill to amend the Ghana Gold Board Act, citing structural inefficiencies and financial leakages in its current operations. Speaking at an engagement with the Ghana Employers Association, the ranking member on Parliament's Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Opon-Kroma, said the caucus had long identified critical weakness in the framework governing the Gold Board.
Kojo Opong argued that one of the fundamental flaws lies in the merging of regulatory and commercial roles within the same institution, warning that such an arrangement could distort oversight and accountability. He further indicated that the minority had proposed revisions to key definitions within the law, including provisions on gold hoarding, which he said have implications for jewelers and other players in the value chain. Mr. Nkrumah also raised concerns about the financial implications of the current system, noting that government is compelled to pay incentives to gold dealers to curb smuggling, an approach he said ultimately reduces returns from gold purchases. He stated that the minority remains open to stakeholder input as it prepares the proposed legislation, stressing that lessons from the current regime will inform future reforms. The proposed bill is expected to focus on strengthening regulatory clarity, improving efficiency, and safeguarding the interests of private sector participants within Ghana's gold industry.
The Ghana reference rate has declined further to 10.06% for April 2026, down from 11.71% in March, extending the downward trend in the benchmark used by banks to price loans. In a notice issued by the Ghana Association of Banks, the new rate takes effect from April 1st, 2026. The GRR serves as the base benchmark for commercial lending in Ghana and is computed using a formula that incorporates end-of-month treasury bill rates, the average interbank rate, and the monetary policy rate.
The latest adjustments reflect the continued decline in short-term government securities yields, with Treasury bill rate easing further, alongside improved liquidity conditions in the interbank market. The rate has now dropped consistently over the past 3 months, from 14.58% in February to 11.71% in March, before falling further to 10.6% in April. The sustained decline in the reference rate provides additional room for banks to review lending rates downward, although actual loan pricing will remain dependent on borrower risk profiles, banks' cost structures, and internal credit assessments. In a pass-through to lending rate is expected to occur gradually as banks adjust pricing in line with their loan repricing cycles. The continued moderation in the GRR highlights the transmission of easing money market conditions into the broader credit market as funding costs decline declines and liquidity improves within the financial system. Meanwhile, average lending rates remain elevated despite the decline in the benchmark, standing at 19.7% as of February 2026, indicating a lag in the full transmission of lower funding costs to borrowers.
Now moving on to some news beyond our borders. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has signed into law legislation doubling the maximum penalty for same-sex relations, making them punishable by up to 10 years in prison amid a crackdown on the country's gay community. The law, which was signed on Monday, March 30, and appeared in the official journal that was distributed on Tuesday, March 31st, passed by an overwhelming majority in the National Assembly and also includes criminal penalties for those found guilty of promoting or financing same-sex relationships.
UN Rights Chief Volker Turk called the law deeply worrying after its passage in Parliament and said that it flies in the face of the sacrosanct human rights. The law punishes acts against nature, a term used to signify same-sex relations, by 5 to 10 years imprisonment compared with 1 to 5 years previously. It also provides for 3 to 7 years in prison for those found guilty of promoting or financing same-sex relationships. According to media reports, dozens of men have been arrested under the anti-LGBTQ laws since February, when police detained 12 men, including 2 local celebrities, the start of a spate of detentions. Arrests have often been based on accusations and phone searches which are reported almost daily, with the names of those detained made public. The new law additionally penalizes anyone who accuses another of same-sex offenses without proof. After debating for several hours, lawmakers approved the bill by a vote of 135 in favor, 0 opposed and 3 abstentions on March 11. Under the law, the maximum sentence will be handed down if the act was committed with a minor. Punishments will additionally include fines from 2 million to 10 million CFA francs, $3,500 to $17,600 compared to 100 million to 1.5 million CFA francs previously. Ousmane Sonko, before becoming Senegal's highly influential prime minister in 2024, had promised to make same-sex relation a crime, upping the offense from its current classification as a misdemeanor. However, the new law which Sonko himself presented to Parliament maintains the same misdemeanor status.
Now moving on to sports, the 3rd edition of the Democracy Cup was officially launched on Tuesday at Parliament House in Accra. For the first time, the main ceremony will take place in Kumasi on August 30, with expanded activities aimed at making an even greater impact. The launch was attended by parliamentarians, ambassadors, sponsors, the ever colorful Ghana Supporters Union, and former players.
The event marked the official beginning of activities commemorating the 3rd edition of the Democracy Cup. Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Apiaji called for the Democracy Cup to be used as a tool to bridge gender inequality. Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Defimekwa lauded the competition's ability to connect the government and the governors. In his address, Speaker Alban Bakben revealed the introduction of a series of events and curtain raiser games to build up to the main ceremony. The 2026 edition will be contested by Asante Kotoko and Heart of Oak at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on a yet-to-be-announced date. The 2 teams battled it out for the maiden edition, with the Porcupine Warriors emerging victorious, while the Phobians edged rivals Great Olympics in the 2nd edition.
And this is how we bring the news bulletin to our end. Our website, bainamultimedia.com, has more news. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Have a good afternoon.